The Golden State Warriors' fate lived and died with Steph Curry for the last few years. If you can stop him, then you stop the Warriors. Simple as that. But that's no longer the case. Ever since Jimmy Butler touched down in the Bay, this team has morphed into an entirely different beast, and the numbers prove it. Since Butler's arrival, Steph is torching defenses with 30.4 points per game on an absurd 64% true shooting. And no, it's not because he magically got better overnight. It's because for the first time in years, defenses have something else to worry about. Teams can't just sell out to stop Steph anymore because Jimmy Buckets is right there, forcing them to rethink everything. The rest of the league, completely lost on how to handle it. So just how dangerous is this new Warriors duo? And more importantly, could this be the missing piece to another championship run for the first 50 games of the season? The Warriors' offense wasn't just struggling, it was gasping for air. A system built on movement, spacing, and unselfish play had been stripped down to one desperate strategy: give the ball to Steph and pray for a miracle. Night after night, he was expected to crack impossible defensive schemes with no backup. There was no vintage Klay Thompson, no Kevin Durant, and not even the erratic but unpredictable Jordan Poole from 2022. Just Steph carrying an offensive burden heavier than anyone else in the league. Defenses knew exactly how to handle it. The game plan? Simple. Trap him on every pick and roll, smother him the second he stepped across half court, send doubles before he could even blink, and force anyone else to beat them. No other superstar in the league gets this kind of treatment. Luka and Kyrie face defensive pressure, but nothing like this. SGA, Tatum, and LeBron all have breathing room to operate. But Steph? He plays in a straitjacket. By mid-season, he led the entire NBA in double-team rate, and the numbers showed just how much it was suffocating him. His 22.7 points per game on 16.8 shots was his lowest scoring output in years. His efficiency took a hit, and his attempts at the rim plummeted to just 12.6%, a steep drop from the 25% he once thrived on. His three-point shooting remained elite, but the NBA had caught up. Now everyone shoots threes, and when Steph struggled, there was no plan B. That's why Golden State's offense was stuck in the mud, ranked in the bottom half of the league, barely hovering above 500, and just clawing to make the play-in. A team that once prided itself on overwhelming opponents with depth and versatility had become entirely dependent on one man's brilliance. But here's the truth: if you want to win it all, that's not just risky, it's a death sentence. You don't just need a second option, you need a game changer. And the moment Jimmy Butler stepped into Chase Center, everything flipped. When the Warriors made the shocking move to land Butler at the trade deadline, there were plenty of doubters. His slow, ISO-heavy game seemed to clash with Golden State's fluid motion offense. His intense, no-nonsense personality added another fiery presence next to Draymond Green. Many questioned if this would actually move the needle. Those concerns? Dead on arrival. Since Butler joined the squad, the Warriors have been on an absolute rampage, winning 11 of their last 12 games. The record speaks for itself, but the numbers, they tell an even crazier story. Butler hasn't just helped the Warriors get back on track, he has completely changed their identity. Before the trade, Golden State was a mess in key areas. From the season opener to the February 6th deadline, they ranked 10th in defensive rating, 18th in offensive rating, 16th in net rating, 26th in field goal percentage, 14th in three-point percentage, and were dead last in free throw shooting. After the trade, it's like they flipped a switch. They now rank 4th in defense, 5th in offense, 3rd in net rating, 18th in field goal percentage, 15th in three-point shooting, and get this, from worst to first in free throw percentage, now leading the entire NBA at 85.6%. And here's the wild part: Butler's raw stats don't even look that crazy. He's putting up 17.8 points, 5.3 rebounds, 5.3 assists, and 1.1 steals in 31 minutes per game. Good, but nothing mind-blowing. But his real impact? It's buried in the advanced numbers. Butler is generating 21 win shares per 48 minutes with Golden State, a mark that places him among the most valuable players in the league. The only others hitting that level while using at least 20% of their team's possessions, MVP frontrunners Nikola Jokic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Giannis Antetokounmpo, along with Anthony Davis and Cleveland's secret weapon Ty Jerome. And when Butler is on the floor, the Warriors are outscoring opponents by 13 points per 100 possessions. Since the trade, they've posted a staggering plus 14. 5 net rating, second best in the NBA during that span. The numbers don't lie. This is a completely different Warriors team. Balanced, dangerous, and one of the biggest reasons, Butler has completely freed up Steph Curry. Before Butler arrived, Steph was averaging 22.7 points, 6.1 assists, and hitting 38.9% from 3 in 42 games since the trade. He's up to 30.4 points, 6.4 assists, 4.3 rebounds, and is drilling 42.2% from deep. That's not just a bump, it's a resurrection. Butler's ability to facilitate while still being a legitimate scoring threat has lifted a massive weight off Steph's shoulders, giving him space he hasn't seen all season. And this is where Butler's impact goes way beyond the box score. At 6'7", he's a two-way powerhouse who can post up, dominate the mid-range, attack the rim, and take on elite defensive assignments. But more importantly, he forces teams to make an impossible choice. Before the trade, defenses sent their best 3-and-D wings at Steph, OG Anunoby, Lou Dort, Dorian Finney-Smith, Dylan Brooks, sometimes even doubling him outright. But with Butler in the mix, that strategy collapses. Now, teams have to pick their poison. Give Steph a point guard matchup and he'll torch them. Stick a bigger wing on him. And Butler feasts in the mid-post, gets to the line, or sets up easy buckets for teammates. Every single pick-and-roll coverage has shifted. Before, teams blitzed Steph, forcing predictable kickouts to role players. Now they can't afford to send two at him without Butler making them pay. His presence alone has transformed how defenses have to approach the Warriors. Jimmy Butler is a defensive gravity magnet, and he doesn't even have to try. And that is what makes this Warriors team absolutely terrifying. For the first time in years, they are complete. Steph is playing free, Butler is thriving, and Golden State is firing on all cylinders at the perfect time. So, is this the blueprint for another Warriors championship? The way things are going, the rest of the NBA better start panicking. He's not a high-volume three-point shooter, and he's not the kind of guy who's going to light up the scoreboard with flashy scoring outbursts. But make no mistake, Jimmy Butler bends defenses in ways that most players can only dream of. His presence alone has introduced mid-post actions, ghost screens, and off-ball cuts that were missing from Golden State's offense. And the best part, he's the perfect complement to Steph Curry. A veteran playmaker who doesn't need the ball to leave his mark, yet commands just enough respect to force defenses into impossible choices. The result, more space, better matchups, and a version of Steph Curry that looks as lethal as ever. For the first time all season, the Warriors aren't just fighting to survive, they're thriving. So far, it's working. They've clawed their way out of play-in territory, now sitting at 35-28, holding on to the 6th seed, the final guaranteed playoff spot in the West. But here's the scary part, what it's doing for Steph. Before Butler arrived, Curry was running on fumes, averaging 23 points on 56. 7% true shooting over his last 20 games. Defenses were throwing the kitchen sink at him, double teams, triple teams, anything to wear him down. But since the trade, he's up to 30.4 points per game on an absolutely ridiculous 68.8% true shooting. The man is dunking again, for goodness sake. And this isn't some random hot streak, it's a direct result of Butler's presence. Steph's double team rate has dropped by 38%. His shot quality, the best it's been in years. The Warriors offense, once stuck in the mud at 23rd in the league, has rocketed into the top 5, and Butler's fingerprints are all over it. When you tally up the points he scores, the ones he creates through assists, and the ones generated by his screening, he's responsible for 41. 1 points per 36 minutes, more than any Warrior not named Steph Curry, who sits at 45.6. The numbers across the board tell the story. More free throws, more offensive rebounds, fewer turnovers, more forced turnovers. This isn't just a team getting better, this is a team that has completely reinvented itself. Let me know what you think. Can Steph and Jimmy lead the Warriors all the way? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like and subscribe for more NBA content.